Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape! No! Planet where apes evolved from men.
The only good human is a dead human!
Apes! Do not want war! God damn you! God damn you all to hell!
On that note, hello everyone. It's Talking Apes, Day 3. I am Bill Worster. You might know me as Zazubaar. That's what's listed below on the YouTube algorithm or whatever. Joining me, Dylan McCandless. He's listed as Super DM64 in the Skynet-esque YouTube algorithm. Say hi to the... No, you know what? I don't want you to make that dumb joke, so Dylan's here. Deal with it.
There will always be dumb jokes, Bill. You cannot avoid them.
Fuck you. That's all I have to say. So it's day 3 of Talking Apes, in which we will be doing commentaries on all of the feature-length Planet of the Apes films and some other shit, maybe. We'll see what happens. But today we're still continuing on in the classic series, and we're going to be talking about the third movie, which is a personal favorite of both of ours, and generally considered to just be one of the good ones. So, Dylan, what are we commentating on today?
We are commentating on 1971, I want to say, Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
You better whip out Google, son. I know you have it somewhere, and you better check. But it's definitely somewhere around there. We established in the last episode that Beneath the Planet of the Apes was released in 1969, immediately after the first one, because as Arthur P. Jacobs said in his famous telegram, apes exist, series required. Same logic in the maybe 2 years that Dylan suggested that followed. They had to keep it going.
I was, in fact, correct. It was in 1971.
So at least in theory, they took more time to make it. And I think that maybe... I think looking back on these movies now, especially after we watched it in day 2, I think that Escape is probably a better movie than Beneath. And maybe the 2 years they took to make it are a better indication of that.
Indeed.
Well, you like it for a
enough,
lot more nostalgic and touchy-feely reasons, though. You know, it really touches your cold, dead heart. Your Grinch-esque, 5 sizes too small heart. No, it's just...
Interestingly enough, this is the only film in the original 5 movies to take more than a year to make. The rest of them were consecutive, so Conquest is in
even the
72,
original
Battle.
one was a rushed shooting schedule, although they actually finished it under the shooting schedule and under budget, which is amazing.
Yeah, well, even if it was a rush shooting schedule, at least they had tons of pre-production on that. With all these other ones, it's like they're just shitting them out. To varying
That's
degrees.
true. I mean, Planet of the Apes took years to make. Like, that realistically, of pre-production. And a lot of people were involved. And Beneath, there was a lot of people involved in pre-production as well. I think that's the thing, is that they had the money to put a lot of people into it, and it was a big deal. They knew it would be successful in the end, and, that's really all that mattered. So throwing all the people into it was not a big deal. Paul Dane was a big hand early on. He clearly had an affinity for this shit, and every time they needed a new story, he was quickly there with some bizarre way to continue the narrative. And I think Escape is probably one of the most interesting, if not the most bizarrely conceived.
Well, from what I understand, the guy whose name I'm forgetting at the moment, he read the Pierre Boulle novel pretty soon after it had come out and was pretty much trying to get the movie made from that point on. So you're looking at like 5 years.
Are you talking about Arthur P. Jacobs?
Is that the name I was trying to remember?
The original producer of Planet of the Apes? Yeah, that's the big name.
Yeah. Because the Pierre Boulle novel came out in 1963, so you're looking at like pretty much 5 years, like begging people to make that movie and then finally getting it made, as opposed to every year them saying, let's do another one.
So this, but again, this one though, 2 years, I think that really helped. they really got some mileage out of those 2 years. So I don't know what else needs to be said. I mean, what's good about this movie, D?
I mean, conceptually, it's a much stronger idea for a sequel than what we had before.
In what
kind
way?
of brilliant.
In what way? Again, I'm still a big fan of Beneath, even though I acknowledge it has a lot more problems than I thought about when I was younger. Now that we went back to it, but what do you think makes it such a stronger sequel conceptually?
It's a genius sort of role reversal of what happened in the first film. It's the apes experiencing what Taylor experienced in the first film, a bit less violent. Certainly, they're at least from the start. But it's this whole idea of like this
People
culture
still
shock.
get murdered. Well, apes still get murdered anyway.
It's still this idea of like, sort of a fish out of water thing, but that phrase kind of colloquially tends to lean towards stories that do this sort of thing for comedy. Think Hercules in New York, but it's more like.
What a bizarre example to pull for that, but okay. Thor, one of the most popular recent example.
Hey, don't be talking to me about that shit with your Ned's Declassified jokes. All right.
All right, fair enough. I guess.
No, but yeah, that's what I've always thought was genius about it, is the idea of reversing the roles and having Cornelius and Zira in the 70s and just seeing them like exploring 70s America is kind of the best thing ever. And it has probably the second best ending out of all these movies. The classic Planet of the Apes movies are all about ending on like a really fucked up note, and this one I think is the only one that gets close to recapturing some of that magic from the original.
You see, again, I think that's another place where you and I kind of deviate. I think all three of them are really strong, but I think they kind of descend for me, like in terms of the impact of the ending. Like the third one is definitely like, wow, that's really impactful. But man, the Earth blew up. That I know that it doesn't have that kind of impact for you, but it always did for me. And Escape was always a little creepy and a little sad and a little optimistic, but also a little dystopian. But it wasn't the Earth blowing up.
Sure, the Earth blows up, but you don't see the Earth blow up.
I know. We talk about this every time, but
it had to be done. It had to be done kind of cheaply. Also, I don't know.
You didn't want to see it blow up, though, because also in this movie, it's way better when Zira describes it from her point of view. Like, there was no need to show it in any more way than they did. If anything, what is a little cheesy about the ending that they should have changed is you don't need the voiceover.
Yeah, that's kind of dumb.
But I still kind of like it. So fuck you. So listen, that's just my only point. I just want to say fuck you. No, it's just.
And also, it's, I don't know, finding out that Earth is the Earth that. Well, finding out that planet is Earth in the first movie is really impactful. It's like, oh, we fucked up. Look at this. Seeing that Earth get blown up, it's like, well, we had already fucked up anyway.
Everybody still fucking dies, though. We think Cornelius and Zira are dead, too. It's sort of reminiscent of how you feel at the end of the first Pierre Boulle novel, where Ulysse starts thinking about how much time must have passed since he left Soror, and Cornelius and Zira would totally be dead, and he kind of feels bad about that. Like, that's part of the thing about when he first leaves there. He's kind of mourning them, because he knows, like, as soon as he leaves, they'll be dead in the cosmic scheme of things. So there's a bit of that at the end of that second movie. Anyway, listen.
I mean, in the first movie, they also explore that, obviously, with the dialogue between Taylor and Landon, I think. Yeah, because Dodge is the black one, right?
Yeah, you got that right.
When they're walking through the Forbidden Zone, he's talking about everybody you knew on Earth is
well,
dead.
they're lamenting they're the people on Earth at that point. Yeah, sure. I mean, that's very similar to the beginning of the Pierre Boulle novel, but I was referring more to the end, where he's mourning the fact that as soon as he leaves the planet, Cornelius and Zira will be like time will just pass and they'll be gone, regardless of whatever happened. So
it's the same idea, regardless of who he's mourning. I mean, it's
no, but I'm just saying Beneath is more touching on that end bit, because of who's left. and the fact that he's sacrificing the few apes that he likes and knows, and Nova and all the humans that he's sort of vowed to rebuild because he doesn't think that there's anything else worth saving. It's an interesting choice on Taylor's part, one that always has required further analysis, I think. Maybe we should have done a little more of that in our Beneath review.
Well, he's not really sacrificing Nova. Nova was already dead.
Oh, she got shot, right. I was mad tired when we did that commentary. That was another thing that impacted it, but I think part of it was that movie did not do a good enough job of keeping my attention. This will be a better paced movie, I assure you.
To be honest, I don't even think Cornelius and Zero were like in his mind at all when he did that. It was sort of.
Oh, I disagree. I totally disagree. I guarantee that they were. I think that he assumed that he was also doing them. He was doing them a service because of what Zaius and Ursus were doing. Like that would spell the end of our ape society anyway.
I think he was in a blind rage. He saw Nova get shot in front of him. Then
I just
Brent
think he was blanketing like everything, like every person in an ape. He wasn't distinguishing. Like everybody probably flashed in his mind at that point when you're making a decision like that. I doubt that he wouldn't have thought of them.
And then he gets shot, and he's locked out. He's locking eyes with Zaius very specifically, and then it's always struck me as like a "fuck you, Zaius, I'm taking you with me."
Well, sure. I mean, he more than sort of says that out loud, and the implications of what he says. It's not a very subtle ending, although I still love it. And again, I personally like that ending a little more than this one, even though I acknowledge that as a film, I think Escapes is superior to Beneath. Looking back on Beneath now and how I remember Escapes and how I'll probably feel about it when we watch it tonight. So why don't we build towards that then, shall we?
There's only one ending to any ape movie. And maybe this would happen with the first movie if it hadn't been so ruined by pop culture. But there's only one ape movie whose ending gave me goosebumps the first time I see it, and still, gives me a little chill every time, and it's fucking this movie.
I like that they painted that monkey to look more like the big monkeys. We'll get there. So I hope that you used all that debate time to get the DVD out and get it booted up and get to 000 like we already did before we started this fucking podcast. And that you're all ready to go to watch Escape from the Planet of the Apes with us. So why don't we get into it? D, are you ready?
I was born ready.
Interesting. That's a bizarre genetic fact about you that I was unaware of. So let's press play for Escape from the Planet of the Apes in 3, 2, 1, play. Ho doggy. So first things first here. Obvious parallel to the first movie. Or kind of all of them. They all sort of have beaches and water to remind us of that iconic bit at the end. And again, it's insane how quickly that became iconic, number one. And how long it's been so iconic. But we sort of initially, we sort of quickly would have figured out that we're in present day because there was a buoy in the distance. Same spaceship from probably the first movie. I don't think it's Brent's ship. I'm pretty sure it's Taylor's ship, although they're pretty much the same thing anyway. It doesn't really matter.
Well, if you believe the account given in Tales from the Forbidden Zone, it's a bit of both, isn't it?
Well, yeah, he does take bits from both, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, so do you want to talk about that a little bit? Do you want to explain that before we get too deep into the movie itself? Because it doesn't really matter, given what happens in this movie. Oh, shit, I don't have subtitles on for some reason.
If you want to hear our thoughts about that, you can go listen to the
we haven't talked about that one yet, though. Oh, yeah.
Well, we will have time travel, Bill. We will have by the time this video goes up.
Holy shit. This movie and our lives have just fucking co-aligned in the most bizarre way possible.
Yeah, I'm thinking four-dimensionally, and you're not.
You know what, man?
So, yeah, you can go.
I don't need you criticizing my dimensional thought.
You can go watch episode 100 and something of DFOS, and then it'll be in part 2. That one got split into 2 parts. and listen
That
to
led
us
to the
talk about that.
confusion here that Dylan is criticizing me over.
But just the part of the story that's relevant to the conversation we was having in that story, Milo takes the innards of Brent's ship, because all the computers and stuff in it are still intact, even though the chassis of it is all fucked up, and he puts them in Taylor's ship where all the equipment had been water damaged, and so he sort of combines the two to make a working ship.
This is an awesome opening.
Yeah,
See, that's the thing about all
about
the Apes movies. They all have great openings, great endings. There's no there's no, there's no saying otherwise. Like, just opening on like, oh shit, we're in present day Earth again? Wow, that's crazy. And then just...
I understand why they did it with Beneath, but I'm glad this movie didn't feel the need to open with Taylor going, "It's doomsday," and blowing up the Earth,
This movie definitely has the more bizarre conceit. If you don't read the fucking story in the anthology novel, obviously, more so than Beneath. Like, obviously, Beneath, everybody was still alive. You could continue that story. There wasn't just, it was just kind of an unclear direction. But after everybody's dead, it's kind of like, well, who knows? But this is a bizarre kind of way to keep things going. But it definitely pays off. But I will say that this movie definitely has one of the more bizarre conceits to keep things going.
Yeah, this is the best part right here of the opening, anyway.
It's also interesting that we have an equally dramatic but not quite as built up intro for the Apes. Do they have gloves on? Yes, they do. Okay. That's great. See, those are not the same spacesuits that Taylor and Brent had, or at least the ones that we saw. I like the schlubby guy in the middle. He's immediately my favorite. Oh, there it is. The penny just dropped. Oh, fuck me. Oh, and the title just pops up. That's great. Zero looks so fucking freaked out. It's perfect. They definitely...
I never realized how much bigger Roddy McDowall's beard is than Milo.
Yeah, it was a bit hard for me to tell them apart initially. So, alright. A couple questions here. Do you think that the apes knew where and when they were before they crash landed, or they figured that out when they popped their helmets off exactly at the same time as the humans figured out who they were? Or, they don't know who they are, but just like what they are.
Zero and Cornelius still don't really understand what's going on. Remember, Milo explains it to them in their cage at the zoo. He figures it out. He's like, "We were propelled backwards through time," or whatever the actual dialogue is. Cornelius and Zero are very confused at this moment.
Right.
Which they also were in that short story.
They would be a million times more confused than I ever thought they were in this movie. If you read that in that story, because they don't really know Milo that well at this point, do they?
No, not at all.
He's a weird, kooky chimpanzee they've just met who's taken them to the past, where people are not pointing guns at them, but around them, certainly.
Tell you what, though, they're going to be big in television.
And that's all that matters, isn't it? This is totally just like the backlot where they were moving the sets.
Well, all that matters is that, and
are
of
they
course,
in handcuffs?
horses.
No, they're not. All right, that's kind of important, isn't it?
Well, I mean, as far as the humans know, they're just some fucking monkeys. They probably think that they got,
But just
shot
think
off
about
in
how
space
the
like we
apes
used to.
treated Taylor, and then comparing how these modern day people are treating the apes. Although it's a completely different situation, though. Like it's not like Taylor just showed up in his ship right in front of the gorilla army and then they just suddenly threw a net on him.
Yeah, it's also not as if the human society is built upon this weird idea of like trying to keep the apes a secret. You know what I mean? Like, there's this whole added layer of politics going on when you go into the ape future that isn't present at this time.
Well, yeah, because this is modern day America, where this is this is pre-Watergate. This would probably be a different situation if this was post-Watergate.
I mean, it's not like that one guy in this movie who's kind of the face of the movie is walking around saying, "There's no such thing as apes. There are no apes in the water."
No, he just wants to kill them. He wants to drown them.
Yeah.
They're pretending to dress.
Where did they get the suitcase?
That's a good question. All right, so again, you and I are now know about that short story that is the backstory for this. And again, it's not what I thought. I always thought that they somehow knew they were going to be leaving, that Milo was a friend of theirs who was like, hey, the gorillas are fucking on the path to destruction. And we need to get the fuck out of here. I'm going to find your friend Taylor's ship and restore it. That's what I always thought the idea was. Not the case. The idea is that Milo was doing that purely for the means of getting this crazy technology away from the gorillas and using it for the means of the betterment of chimpanzees, and happened to accidentally use it to get away from the Earth blowing up, with Cornelius and Zira tagging along by accident, who are two chimpanzees who he don't know.
The most genius thing about that short story, I think, is that they establish in that Milo fucking hates gorillas.
Well, yeah, he comes from a part of the world where chimpanzees and gorillas are at war. They don't really mention orangutans, though, like what their part in it is.
But it's nice that the author had the idea of making Milo adverse to gorillas, because what is it that kills Milo in this movie?
Yeah, that's clever. I think it's going to happen in a few minutes.
Oh yeah, it doesn't take long. He's barely in this movie.
Yeah. Which I think is why it was so easy to make his backstory so different from what we expected in this. So, he's dressed like one of them, obviously, because Zira gave him one of Cornelius's suits, presumably.
Yeah.
Like, presumably that's not his suit. Like, there's no way he dresses exactly like they do, because he comes from a different part of the world. Which is also more advanced, by the way, more like the novel version of the Apes. I love Zira so much.
I loathe bananas.
I do like the condensed, but very different and different meaning version of the first movie we get here. Was that kid British or whatever? So what I was gonna ask something else about Milo's place in all this. I don't know. It's still a little weird. It doesn't completely line up. Here we go. That's a good line. Oh, so they probably do know when they crashed, or at least Milo did. Yeah, because he was looking at it. He was looking at the time meter. I love how after he says that, they look over at a gorilla and look at Milo's face. Well, how do they know? How do they know what happened? It seems like Milo knows what happened there. Who told them that?
Knows what happened where?
Told
them what?
That somehow they know that the gorillas and Zaius are responsible for the Earth blowing up, which is also not true.
I think they just assumed because, the last thing they knew before they left was that the guerrillas were marching off to war. Then the next thing they know, they look down and the planet blows up. I mean, it's a pretty logical assumption.
I guess. Again, it's hilarious and fascinating that they're wrong, though. It's Taylor. Doomsday.
They're not entirely wrong.
Well, no,
Even
but
if it was
the actual person who
Taylor.
blew up the planet was Taylor.
Even if it was Taylor who pushed the button, he never would have pushed that button had it not been for the actions of the guerrillas.
Yeah, that's true.
So what he told them was true from a certain point of view.
Exactly. Good job, Obi-Wan. Dr. Dixon. Everybody just starts laughing.
I meant to mention this in the Beneath commentary, and I think I forgot. You are now looking, dear listeners, to Natalie Trundy, who is in all of the sequels. She was the female mutant in the last film. Not much to do in that movie, but she has a much more substantial role here.
She blinked a lot,
probably her
didn't
most. Yeah, she did do that. In fact, this is probably her most substantial because in the next movie she's an ape and she doesn't talk. And,
well, in Battle, she talks.
That's true. She does talk in Battle.
All right, here's another thing I wanted to say here. There's a lot of stuff they didn't use in the original Pierre Boulle novel when they adapted it the first time that they use in this when they flip the situation, when they put the apes
Definitely.
traveling backwards in time to the more advanced human society, interacting with it, obviously fish out of water kind of story. All these intellectual tests are obviously more in line with stuff that the apes do to Taylor in the novel. And overall, when the apes become celebrities and everything, it's more in line with what happens to Ulysse towards the middle and end of the novel. When it's discovered by the apes that he's intelligent and they decide to accept him and do everything in their power to make him comfortable because he's stuck there on their planet.
One of the tests that they run in particular is straight out of the book, like exactly as it was described. I'll mention
This
that when we get
this
to it.
one is sort of similar to something in the novel, but it's not exactly it. It's a little different. There's something involved with stacking differently shaped cubes.
Also, the way the humans in this movie react to the apes is exactly how
love
the book
Zira!
it's exactly the way the apes in the novel version reacted to Ulysses. Is when they find out he is intelligent, they sort of embrace him as an intelligent being, and then only later on, when they have reason to fear him, did they turn and become more aggressive towards him. Not the case in the original '68 film, but certainly the case here.
God damn it, now I want a banana. But I loathe bananas!
I feel zero.
She
I don't
is
like bananas
probably
either.
my favorite character in this movie. She goes through so much shit. When she gets shot, it really... that fucked me when I was a kid. I mean, obviously that's a spoiler, but presumably you've seen this movie. Don't be watching this for the first time if you're watching it with this commentary.
No, it's a terrible way to discover the movie.
Well, not to discover it necessarily, but watch the movie first, then put it back on and listen to us talk bullshit over it. And we will give you another layer of insight with our bullshit. In our bullshit is tiny nuggets of insight. McInsight nuggets, as I said. Oh my god, there they go. Wow. I love how they lock them up after that happens. That's interesting. It's very similar to how the apes react. Do not call my wife mad. All right, so now that Milo is finally being strangled, and by finally I mean we're like maybe not even 20 minutes in.
I like the cutaways to the other animals in the zoo while
That's
he's being
very
strangled.
Gorgo, yes. How do you feel about the gorilla suit, the animal gorilla suit? I mean, by animal I mean like the primitive gorilla.
It ain't great, but gorilla suits never really were. So
Is it better than all the other crap B movie gorilla suits?
I mean, it's certainly better done than some of the ones from like the 50s, just by virtue of being newer and a little bit better made.
Is it better than King Kong versus Godzilla and King Kong Escapes?
Kong versus Godzilla, yes. Escapes, I don't know.
I think it's better than both. Although, if you use that suit for King Kong, I think that would be very disappointing.
The gorilla in the other cage, on the other hand, he will hurt you. He will hurt you dead.
They think that like the gorilla was a hired thug. Wow, he looks real sad. And soon he's going to be up in lights on Broadway. It's just his punishment that we've arranged for him. A public shaming. So he's human, Dr. Zira, because he's a good-looking white man, as opposed to a good-looking chimpanzee woman.
Yeah, and I think the blonde chick is kind of a female Cornelius in that way.
I guess. Although we don't really know what her job is. He did not have to say primitive, because that's completely unnecessary, because they're not necessarily primitive. They're chimpanzees, you know? I will have to say that I would have to say that in these lighting conditions, whatever they're doing in this movie, the makeup doesn't look as good as the first one. I don't know what it is. Maybe I think it's just the fluorescent lights and shit, as opposed to the natural light of the original.
I think it could also have something to do with Fox's odd decision making in that movie after movie, despite the fact that the Apes films were huge box office successes, movie after movie they reduced the budget. Just
Ladies
gradually,
and gentlemen, President Cary Grant.
Until you get to fucking battle, and then there's just no budget left.
Doesn't look like this president has much budget left either. All his cabinet have to stand in the back while they have their meeting. What are they going to be sitting on the floor next? They're going to come and do it in his mom's basement. All right, guys, we have to move it to the garage because my mom needs the basement to do the laundry. But it's cool because that's where my guitar is, so I can play while we talk about world politics and shit. And incredibly sexy. They haven't figured out yet that it was fucking Taylor's ship. Like, shouldn't they have known that when they just fucking looked at it initially? Oh, there's the...
They do know that. They do know that it was Taylor's ship. You missed it a second ago. The president said this ship is the one that was commanded by Colonel Taylor.
Oh. I missed that then, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's just do a quick time check, though. I'm at 21, 54, 55, 56.
Yep, we're in sync.
All right, never mind. So I'm just an idiot, I guess.
Yeah, I mean...
That was German Mel Brooks. Taco from King Kong versus Godzilla.
Also known as Japanese Mel Brooks. And here we have British...
I was going to say it was George Harrison, to be honest. By monkeys. Bloody monkeys!
Well, they
Mr.
trusted the
Sinatra,
monkeys
is
to
it true
pilot
that
a
you're going to
spaceship.
sing the national anthem? I love
Monkeys
that
can't
guy.
even sing, and you put them in a spaceship.
Yeah, that's a great interesting response. In that it's also the response of a crazy paranoid lunatic. Have you guys read every book in this room? They're going to ask you to recite all the lines from them to prove that you're intelligent.
Yeah, that's what school
Your
is, right?
better self, Zira. That's great. Again, I love Cornelius and Zira. They're oh wow, I forgot about that. Never mind. Remember how I said that it was nice that they weren't in handcuffs earlier? I take that back. Why are they in handcuffs now? Because they're suddenly in a courtroom? Why are they on trial?
Well, it wouldn't be proper. Remember, none of these people know they are intelligent. It would be inappropriate to bring uh, animals into a tribunal like this and not have them somehow restrained. There would be too big a risk of incident.
But it's okay to bring them onto a
You're
military
looking at,
base unrestrained.
you see, well, no, to a zoo. See, you're looking at them like people, and
Well, again, I guess. Don't most of these people already know what's going on, though?
no,
Oh, this is
this
the
is their
press. Oh, shit, I didn't realize that. All right.
this is Cornelius and Zira's debut. This is the
It's
moment from the original
interesting and
book where
a little weird that they premiere in front of the president's cabinet as well as the public at the same time.
well, I mean, again, this is the scene from the original book when Ulysses
Yeah.
reveals himself to all the top ape.
I like that the science counselor who turns out to be a bad dude, touching his face. He's always kind of trying to hide himself because he's very insecure and scared and afraid. Always lingering in the background. How do you feel about him?
Ooh.
The fucking the science cabinet dude, the bad dude.
Oh, okay. I like him. I've always liked him. I think he's a good villain for this movie. He is human Zaius, and I love that.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And
I like him less than Zaius, though. Like,
and he has a
I think
fantastic
he's more of a
monologue.
dickhead, though.
He has a fantastic monologue later on in the movie that I really love. When someone says something about, we'll do something about the apes later, and he does this thing where he has this speech where he's like, later we'll do something about the atomic bomb, later we'll do something about the ozone layer. He said, how much time has the world got?
I
Great
love
speech.
I
also
love
that
I
little
love how
there.
when he says that, the science cabinet dude gets up and is like, "Fuck this." Oh, that's Dr. Hassline. Oh, that's the guy who invented the time travel theory.
Yeah, you never knew that?
I never put two and two together, no. Or at least I didn't remember. What the hell does he care? Look how offended he was by that.
Well, he's the religious guy.
Well, why does he have to acknowledge their marriage? They're presumably from another time and place.
Because because in a religious context, it's kind of ridiculous to consider two animals. Again, he's still viewing them as animals, married because it's supposed to be a fucking human man and woman thing.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it could have been worse. Cornelius could have been married to Milo.
Oh my god. Why the fuck would she say that? Ugh, she really fucked up.
Yeah, well, that's part of Zira's character. She mentioned it earlier. She doesn't really believe in deception. She's a very honest person, and so without even thinking, she just started telling the truth, and then she had to stop herself. Very honest person. Listen to me. She's a very honest monkey.
All right, so he said that they escaped when war became inevitable. So it's all, again, it almost seems like they did it on purpose because that was their motivation, right?
It's implied that way, but it's never outright stated that way.
Right,
So
right.
there's
Again, I'm just saying this is what I put together when I was a kid.
semantically speaking, it's still a bit vague.
It totally makes sense, you fucking idiot. What are you talking about? Cornelius, you spoke of war. Well, not true. You guys also went out into the Forbidden Zone pretty much at the same time. Oh, they lie about this initially? I forgot about that. Ooh, it's taking everybody a while to clap there. Imagine if they just fucking, after they get unchained, they just rip everybody's fucking throats out.
Yeah, I mean, of course, everybody's not everybody's going to immediately be like, yeah, unchain those animals that can talk, you know. Uh,
Who is this dude? I've seen him on other shit. I don't know what other shit, though. Oh, God, not all these books again. Do you think anybody's actually read any of those books?
yeah, sure.
Who? Would you?
I mean, I don't know. I can't really see the titles. Maybe there's some interesting shit over there, you know.
Bah. I deem you full of shit, sir. Oh, they tell him about that. Oh, wow, they're very upfront with them. Oh, I like that he holds up the chains after that. Kind of like in the other ones, it takes us a while to kind of figure out what's really going on. We're about a half hour in right now, and we're only sort of now really piecing together what exactly went down. In terms of, oh, this is what they saw, this is what they knew. this is what they remember, and this is what they're going to tell everyone. I really like the guy they got to play this dude. He's super reserved in a creepy, disturbing way. He looks like he could lash out at any second and just start slashing people's throats with a knife, but he wouldn't because he's in a suit and he's a civilized man. He doesn't want to get blood on a suit. Is this where the painting thing comes into play? This reminds me.
I believe so. Yes.
This reminds me of King Kong versus Godzilla, where Dr. Arnold comes in and starts telling fucking that dude about the dinosaurs were a mixture of land and sea animals, and that's what Godzilla could be. And Kong has a brain about this size. He's a thinking animal. And Godzilla has the brain about the size of a marble. That's what this scene is. Who took the time to take all these pictures? Hassline did it? I like that he's always painting the picture in the same landscape. It's disturbing. That is a pretty cool effect, though.
He just continued infinitely until the artist was sucked into some strange Twilight Zone dimension in which he and the painting were...
Dylan, I don't think they really did it.
I meant in this hypothetical scenario that Dr. Hassline is...
He probably died. Arthritis probably killed him. His hands probably turned into fucking mush. Oh my god, they're still in the cage at the zoo? They got books in there now.
Yeah,
they look like the same books that were in the fucking legal library.
Yeah, they haven't been moved to the hotel yet.
Oh, they do call them Apenauts in the movie. Good. That's a good fucking thing to coin. Because otherwise we would have fucking coined that. We still got Kong Jaguar Son, though.
You don't remember them? You didn't remember them calling them that? You thought we had coined Apenauts?
No, I'm not saying we coined it. I'm saying that we would have. It's been a while since I've seen this. Oh, here we go.
Oh yeah, they're definitely in LA. That was the Brown Derby. Holy shit.
This city looks way less shit than when I was actually in it. I wish I went to the 1970s version. Oh man, they're Kim Kardashian apes. Oh my god, yeah, I live such a hard life. There are always paparazzi draining the life out of me. Oh my god. That's Kim Kardashian ape.
Yeah, this is missing something so far that I think all of the other Planet of the Apes movies have had.
People murdering each other with guns?
No, that comes later. At least one black guy.
There was a soldier at the beginning who was black, but he didn't have a lot of dialogue.
There's always one black guy, whether it's the black astronaut or fucking the Black Mutant or
That's a cool name for a band, the Black Mutant.
Indeed, or the guy from the last two movies, McDonald or whatever.
Not the last two movies, the next two movies.
Well, I meant last in this particular series.
Ah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, LA looks way nicer in this context than it did when I first saw it in person. Sir, this is a monkey. What a monkey suit. I really like the
Something about
media blitz around. This is all stuff that is sort of talked about in the original Pierre Boulle novel that we don't actually see.
we see a little bit of it in that scene where he goes to that like club and parties.
Oh, a chimpanzee tailor does come and actually measures him, so I guess we do actually see it. This is a weird fucking outfit.
It was the 70s. It's not so weird under the Little Red Riding Hood cape.
Cornelius is a weird dude. He's got weird kinks. Are they filming a porno? Key party! Cornelius, I forgot to bring condoms. Can I borrow some of yours? They won't fit. Haha, they're too big. They just fall right off you. Do you think this is the party where, in that short story, the guy meets Cornelius and Zira? You still there, D?
Yeah, I'm just watching the movie.
Oh. Are you ignoring me?
What? A little bit.
I asked you, the guy in that short story, is this the same party where he met Cornelius and Zira in that?
Oh, I believe it's supposed to be. That was the impression I got while reading the story.
I forgot it was in their apartment. Or not their apartment, their hotel. That is an interesting outfit as well, but one that's more my speed because it looks comfortable as fuck.
Again, man, it's the 70s. I mean, you've seen what the Doctor looked like at this time.
I like how he looks really unsatisfied with himself for like doing shit like endorsing a Jungle Cruise, because that's really stupid. Yeah, they should have put some horses on, then he would have been satisfied. Some horses.
Horses.
Zira, there were no horses. Cornelius gets so turned on when Zira is just ahead, like there's nothing else showing. Like that's why he likes that Little Red Riding Hood outfit and her in the bubble bath. Like he's such a fucking like. She likes to use his imagination, I think.
I guess they don't bathe in the future. They have saunas, but they don't bathe.
I love this. This is fucking brilliant.
They mention this in that short story, too.
Yes, they do. This is also brilliant. Because this is also in the novel. But except it's two gorillas boxing, obviously, which Ulysses does not like.
Which doesn't make any sense, because Yuli's did come from a place where boxing existed.
I don't think that
the
was
apes...
his thing, though. Especially since he's been hanging out with Zira and he's developed her aversion to gorillas. Oh, shit. So at this point... Okay, so she's wearing the same outfit. How long do you think they've been on Earth at this point?
This is when shit starts to go down south, man. This part of the movie always comes way too soon for me. I could watch hours of just them hanging out in the 70s.
This is where Zilla's foot is going to come through the ceiling, change everything. That does not look like a gorilla, though. It looks like a bear. Jurassic Beds would be a great name for a mattress store.
Wow, I forgot that there was a talking ape in the Godzilla '98 teaser.
Me too. Why the fuck is Dr. Hassline called? Who gives a fuck what his deal is? He's a creepy, weird dude. Keep him away from the innocent young chimpanzee woman.
He is the scientific advisor for the White House. He's very
Call
important
a
man.
doctor. A medical doctor. One who knows about babies. And the pregnancy.
He is the time travel guy also. He's the expert on that.
So can we talk about the fact that here he is, like, he gets called in because they're like, oh, Dr. Hassline, you're a science dude for the president. That's really cool. Can you help my little she-monkey here? She's pregnant. She needs help. Cornelius is off, presumably doing something more important. And he's like, all right, yeah, sure, no problem. He's like fucking a Russian dude you hire to, like, fix your sink. And he gets in, he starts fixing the sink, and then he's like, I'm just going to pour alcohol down it, and it will work. And it like the alcohol, and I will convince it to work. Here she is fucking
That's a line that I forgot. She's known that she was pregnant since well before the war, she says. So during Beneath, she was already pregnant.
So it probably hasn't been that long since they've been on Earth at this point.
Well, it's been a few months based on the short story. And it always struck me that they had been there
really
for,
like that line of her where she's like, it wasn't our war. She gets drunk really quick, though. She doesn't even finish that first drink.
Low tolerance.
She's also pregnant, though.
Sure.
That's the point I was building to before. Like, that's what's fucked up about Hassline getting her drunk. Like, he shouldn't be. She's fucking pregnant.
She really goes ape for that grape juice plus.
I mean, she's partially responsible as well. She should not be, like, drinking when she's pregnant. Maybe they don't know that in their time, so it's still kind of Hassline's fault.
Yeah, I don't get the feeling that there is alcohol in the ape future.
Oh, bullshit. You're out of your mind. There's totally alcohol. They mention it in the book,
Where?
don't they?
Okay, fine. The book.
No, not the Pierre Boulle novel, the anthology.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, pretty sure they do. I'm pretty sure. I guarantee to you. I mean, they had alcohol in, like, fucking ancient fucking Roman times. You don't think they had alcohol in the fucking ape future?
Well, the knowledge on how to create alcohol probably would have been lost along with all the other human knowledge.
Yeah, but I think the apes
were only
would have
starting
discovered that just as they did gunfire.
Perhaps Milo's people would have had alcohol of some kind.
I think you're wrong about that. I'm pretty sure the apes in Ape City had alcohol.
I feel like if Zira had known what alcohol was, and the first time she had a very first blush, she would have been like, "This is alcohol. You're trying to get me drunk. I approve."
I'm just saying I don't know if maybe they don't call it alcohol though.
Now, I'm not sure if this movie was the first to do it or Beneath was the first to do it, but we have officially retconned the year that Taylor arrived in the future from 3978, as it was in the first movie, to 3955. Again, I don't remember if Beneath did that first or if that was purely this movie, but somewhere along the line that got retconned, and that's a slight continuity problem.
The voters love them. I love how that's how he words it. I like this dude a lot. He's the guy I would vote for. He needs better hair, though. He should let it grow out a little bit. She got like a nice little mane going on. Who the fuck is he looking out for? Apes who are going to invade the White House right now? But I'm not saying that you're right either. All right, I'd like to hear his
Anyway,
argument. I'd like to hear his argument for murdering my favorite characters in historical fiction. I almost said that's not what I meant. In classic cinema.
I think this might be the scene where he gives that monologue I was talking about before that I really like. That's not really a monologue, but that little speech about how much time
It's
has
a
the world got.
monologue. Oh no, it's not. He gets interrupted. Never mind. Well, no, you're not altering the future because things would have just progressed as they did if you killed them here. Because, I mean, they still enslave apes, even though they would have known that that's the thing that leads to it. Doesn't Cornelius and Zira tell them that in this?
I think they do, yeah.
Like, everything goes as it does. The virus that kills cats and dogs, everything. Look at that cigar. That's more like a fucking blunt. I hope it is. It's the 1970s, after all. You need a blunt smoking president. Especially to deal with fucking talking apes from space.
It is a mighty skinny cigar, isn't it?
But again, an amazing blunt. This is most certainly a better paced movie than Beneath the Planet of the Apes. And shit has still not really gotten real yet. It's about to get real, though. It's definitely a lot more fast-paced than I remembered, though. They're already going to the fucking to the military base.
Yeah, this movie is extremely well paced. It clips right along, and it goes from the pleasantness of earlier to the disturbingness of what's to come so quickly that it makes you go, no, go back.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Apenauts. Oh, they're playing back the recording. They're very clear about that. They didn't need to be more clear. I like that Cornelius tells this dumb white dude off. He's a prick. Fuck him.
Well, apes do destroy apes occasionally. If an ape scientist, for example, were studying humans too closely, and then an orangutan and a gorilla had to have her fucking murdered.
Oh, see, he's gonna tell them. He's gonna tell this dude, the worst of all dudes. Oh, you see? All these guys die, though, so nobody alive would know what happened. So let's see how well this lines up with what we see later. Oh, wow, so people were actually killing cats and dogs. That's fascinating. And it's really interesting in this context.
Now, it doesn't really make sense that Cornelius and Zero know all this,
No,
considering
but
that the Ape
Cornelius had
Society
access
came
to the scrolls.
in, though.
I
In the
don't
first two
know.
movies, it seems
Maybe
Zaius
in between when we know that was months and months. Maybe when he was science counselor in Zaius' place.
possibly. I suppose it's the only plausible explanation.
Or he could have put it together when he was doing his own research in the Forbidden Zone. And then I guess he told it to Zira, because she's telling it just as eloquently as he is. But that makes sense. If he knows it, she would probably know it. That's more in line with the Pierre Boulle novel, where it's more gradual. Aldo, there he is. This is something that's kept consistent in every version in the origin of the Planet of the Apes. It's nice that they thought to record this so that way when they need to use it later, when Caesar needs to find all this out for himself, he can travel to an underground bunker and learn it all for himself. Oh man, shit's about to hit the fan. I love these fucking two. Always making a joke out of these fucking idiot fucking humans. I mean, it's like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. What do they think they're gonna do? Fucking start dissecting people now? In the present day? Like Zira's just like they're just gonna walk into their hotel room and there's just a homeless guy on the table with his fucking brains hanging out. What the hell? Yeah, shit's starting to hit the fan. Now they're starting to get shoved around.
Zero, have you ever heard of the morning after pill?
Oh, God. Still doing the full arm makeup. Looks good. I like how she doesn't like that joke. And good, they're gonna record her again while she's being fucking drugged. Good.
Well, at least it's sodium pentothal, so it's a bit more reliable than just wine.
Yeah, at least it's more effective at forcing her to tell the truth. Terrorist fucking interrogation style. I do like that at the end of the day, it is like the original Planet of the Apes, where there really are only two humans who stick their necks out for the apes, and it's Lewis and Stevie. They're the Cornelius and Zira. Hassline is even like 10 times worse than Zaius. Like, Zaius at least doesn't try to actively kill Taylor. Especially the genitals.
We were quite impressed by the size of the humans' penises.
I would describe the period in the first movie, as especially as it's being described now, as this weird, like, more advanced Renaissance age in our era. Like, it's more advanced than that, but it's kind of similar in the mindsets and what's going on. Like this rebellion against religion and religious dogma for more of an enlightened kind of scientific mindset. And it's funny that in that version of it, right as soon as that starts to happen, the world ends. We got some weird flashbacks to the first movie there. How'd you feel about that? I wish somebody would have gone, wow, that was weird, that we saw things that we never saw ourselves. Oh, wow. Good they showed that clip. Couldn't have gotten out of this myself unscathed without that. I do like that Hassline isn't a fucking savage. Like, that's, again, one thing that makes him more like Zaius. But, again, I think he's more of a overall asshole. Maybe it's just the fact that he's a human, though. We'll disregard the homeless man found in their apartment dead with his brain exposed and his dick cut off. It's cool. That orca was still left alive as well, so that's fair. Oh, I like how he's the only dude present. This one is also not open to the public, I guess, right? Would you say that their decision is somewhat reasonable?
Do what?
Would you say that their decision is somewhat reasonable?
Oh, incredibly so, yeah. I think it's all very reasonable. I mean, I completely understand the motives of Dr. Asline and everybody involved, really.
Well, when he starts firing his gun, I think that's a little much. Well, Cornelius did kill somebody though. Yeah. Again, it's a lot like Zaius, but again, I just think it's when he picks up the pistol himself, he starts shooting, that I think goes too far. But I think it's weird. He thinks that he's the only one who has his commitment to do it, and that's cool. And that's not Zaius, because Zaius knows that there are other committed religious apes like him, gorillas and orangutans alike, but Hasselline thinks that he's the only real defender of the faith, which is kind of interesting. I like that Zira kind of seems to have made peace with their decision, because or at least what's going on, because she finally got to tell the truth about everything.
Well, I don't know. They know yet that the commission has decided to prevent the birth of their child and prevent them.
Well, he said they
more.
were savages and brutes, so I presume that that's the case.
Or,
I mean, that's the only really bad thing that they've done.
Well, he specifically said savages and brutes because they had stuck a needle in his pregnant wife's arm. That's exactly what he said. I don't think they are aware yet of what the commission has decided.
Oh, never mind. Oh, yeah, right, because he's going to say, oh, you need nutrition for that little monkey inside of you. Shit's about to really hit the fan.
That is the only thing that the commission has decided that might seem a bit harsh, although it is important to note that Dr. Zaius attempted to do the exact same thing in the first movie when he tried to have Taylor gelded.
Yeah, but he was also
he
was going to cut up his brain, too.
There wasn't a fetus involved at that point, but...
Wow, I literally yawned and I missed Cornelius killing that dude. It was that fast. It is this total moment of just awesome blind rage. Holy shit. See, that's a good example of, like, they're not human, even if they kind of look more human than they do like apes, at least in terms of their stature. But strength-wise, they're apes. You know, like, Cornelius is a full-grown male chimpanzee. He can fuck up a human being. Maybe not, though. Maybe they've evolved to be more kind of limited in strength, like humans have.
Yeah, because, I mean, if the apes in that future had retained the strength differential that exists between humans and apes today, I think they still have some of that.
Yeah, I would imagine Cornelius would still be stronger than a human. I mean, he must be. That's probably why he killed that dude, by accident.
Especially with regards to the gorillas. But, I mean, you know, Taylor scuffles with a few apes in the first movie, and he holds his own really well, and he's not, you know, he's not a fucking Lou Ferrigno guy, you know what I mean?
He's not Dwayne
he's
The Rock
sort
Johnson.
of an average guy.
Oh my god! If you if you do a really proper remake of Planet of the Apes on the new on the new version of the Planet of the Apes, I want Dwayne The Rock Johnson to be Taylor.
No.
Yes, fuck you. Well, he wouldn't be the same character.
No.
Yeah, but he wouldn't be that character though. He would just be like a version of that idea.
No.
Oh, you're crazy.
You want to recast Moses with the Tooth Fairy?
With the Scorpion King? Yes. I think that's perfect casting.
Yeah, okay. So you're thinking 90s Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I'm talking about the Tooth Fairy Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
We'll think more like Baywatch Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
That's still not a good comparison.
I think that trailer looked funny. It seems like that movie got kind of an unfair beating.
I don't want funny for Taylor.
He's a little funny.
But not that kind of fun. No. Just no. Terrible idea.
You're very belligerent. You're very judgmental. I think you need to look at yourself, mate. It is her pregnancy seems weirdly tied to her emotional state. It always comes in at the right dramatic moment.
God, that might even be a worse idea than Marky Mark. I don't know.
Do you not like Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
I like him all right, but for Taylor, no.
But again, I'm not saying he would
No.
be Taylor. Fine. Who would you do? Who would you put in that? Who would you put in that role?
God, I don't know. Who's got the chops today? You know what I mean?
But again, I don't think they should be Taylor. I think they should be some other modern variant on that character. If anything, you're more adapting Yuli's than anything else.
Well, you said a proper remake, so I mean.
No, but I mean we're gonna do it in the Caesar timeline that we have now.
I mean, maybe I'm just thinking this because I saw Covenant today. Maybe a Fassbender or
Yeah, Fassbender would be good.
maybe a McAvoy.
Nah, not him. I disagree. He would be terrible.
Maybe not for Taylor. Maybe not for Taylor, but for one of the others. They could make him land and then make it more in line with that scientist guy from the book.
I don't know. Idris Elba?
Dwayne The Rock Johnson could be Dodge. He'd make a lovely mannequin.
I feel like if you do Chris Pratt, that's like too obvious.
Maybe Idris Elba. If that's not a terrible idea, I could see him doing it.
I think Idris Elba would be good, and if you're gonna do a more Taylor-esque character who like hates humanity and shit, I feel like that's a good idea. I forgot that Cornelius leaves Zira in the woods. That's fucked up. Good thing this isn't the American Werewolf in London universe, otherwise they'd be fucked.
Didn't you suggest McConaughey the other night?
Did I? I don't think that's terrible. I think you'd probably hate that, but I think that works too.
No, my pitch was I wanted McConaughey to be a monkey. Yeah.
Oh, that would also work, but I would also like to see him be like a Taylor type as well.
I want him to be like a really eccentric orangutan who's all like, the lawgiver says you cannot touch.
But I think I see a lot of lawbreakers out here. Is the Satan in the Planet of the Apes universe called the Lawbreaker?
I don't even know.
Or
if
the
they have
Law
a
Taker, since it's the Lawgiver?
I don't think but that would be good.
The Law Receiver?
I don't think they have a Satan figure beyond the vague concept of man. Yes, man.
Yes, man. I'm sure there's a demonic ape type. I would love to see like a satanic cult in the fucking Planet of the Apes world.
Yeah, but the execution of that would come out a little too similar to the fucking mutants.
Not necessarily. Depends on what they're worshipping. As long as they're not worshipping a fucking bomb. Also, I would say you would have them kill.
Do you think Cornelius knew that guy was dead until he just heard him say they killed their orderly? You think maybe he thought he just knocked him out?
Oh, no. He knew. He looked back. He looked back at the blood. I mean, he wasn't positive, obviously, but he must have been relatively sure. Oh God, she just saw Bigfoot. I do like that line a lot too. They won't. This pace is more like the first movie where there's just one dramatic thing happening after the other, where it's like, oh, now we got this problem. Solved it, now we got this problem.
So my headcanon has always been that Stevie is the ancestor of the female mutant from Beneath.
Yeah, that's cool. That works.
Now we get introduced to possibly the most joyful character in this movie.
Oh, wonderful. And also in Conquest. I like that he's so about rebelling against the government. I always thought he was going to betray them when I first saw this, but he doesn't. I think they're trying to make you think he is, in
There
the
is-
way he delivers some of his lines.
There is no movie that could not be improved by adding a little Ricardo Montalban. And here we
Certainly
have him,
not.
man. Damn.
Young and tongue and full of cum pre-Wrath of Khan.
I don't know if he's necessarily young, but he is those other two things.
He probably fucked everybody at that table, even the dudes.
Probably fucked that baby.
My God, he probably fucked that cheetah.
Oh, you know he fucked that cheetah. Did you see that he looked at him when he walked in? Ready for round
Did
two.
you see how the cheetah looked at me? No, he hasn't had her yet. See the way he touched her? That's the introductory touch.
What about a Cumberbatch?
No, are you crazy? Again, he'd be better as an ape.
Now think about the way Doctor Strange is, especially during that period where he's just lost his hands and he becomes like kind of depressed and like angry at the world and shit. And tell me you can't picture that.
I
as fucking
didn't love him in that movie, to be honest. I didn't love that movie in general. I thought it was just okay. But I thought that he was doing a bit of a light Tony Stark. And I didn't necessarily get entirely what he was about.
Well, that's kind of from the comics, though. I mean, Doctor Strange is another character who's kind of snarky, you know.
Yeah, but I also got the sense that they were trying to do like a house thing with him, and I wish they would have went further with that. I don't know. I don't like Cumberbatch as a Taylor type. Oh, you know who would also be good as an ape? Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman.
Yeah, why not?
What
He'd
kind
be-
of an ape?
Chimp.
Okay, yeah. All right, yeah, chimp. Sure.
I do like that they use a real baby chimp as Zira and Cornelius's baby. That's probably the only way to do it, right? I mean, otherwise you'd have to do a fake, like, baby. This is obviously the best way to do it.
You know who I think could possibly make a good Zaius?
Who?
Malcolm McDowell. He's now distinguished. He's got that Britishness, and he's also good at being menacing.
You know who else you would have to get to play an ape? Either an orangutan or a chimpanzee.
Who?
You would have to get Jeff Goldblum.
Would you really? Would you have to?
Yes! Are you fucking crazy? Yes, you would have to. Somebody on the Science Council. For Isaias, though? I don't know.
I'm thinking Malcolm McDowell for Zaius, and for the fucking president of the commission or whatever, the other orangutan that he works under. You need a good like old British voice. I'm thinking Terrence Stamp.
Sure. You're casting really old, but these guys might not be able to do it.
Well, for the orangutans, definitely. I mean, I picture them old. You know, they're
Not
sort of
that old.
they're the guys who were in charge of the civilization. They're the old white men, so to speak, of the scenario.
Hmm. So you know what? I would almost say cast like Cornelius, cast Martin Freeman as Cornelius.
You know who else though? Maybe
Who?
as an alternate suggestion, because also great voice. Maybe Ian McKellen.
Sure.
That's an old ass fucking.
I'm
Too bad this man's dead. I would love to see Ricardo Montalban come back as an ape.
I feel like you get somebody like a Rachel fucking what's her name? Like a Rachel Weisz to play like a fucking Zira.
Who dat?
The chick from The Mummy.
The chick from the Mummy.
Yeah.
From the Brendan Fraser Mummy?
Yeah. Who's fucking Brendan Fraser? I feel like she's a good Zira even now.
Brendan
She's
Fraser.
fucking Daniel Craig now.
Is she?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Go figure.
I feel like she would be a good Zira.
Maybe. I don't know who would be able to capture that Zero personality.
Rachel Weisz. She kind of has it in The Mummy. Scarlett Johansson.
Maybe. It would get really distracting though, hearing her voice coming from behind the makeup, I think.
Then maybe you have to go unknown.
I hesitate to say Scarlett Johansson just because, God, she's in everything.
Zoe Saldana, or also in everything.
Telling you, man, fucking ScarJo and what's her name? Charlize Theron. They're in fucking everything.
Charlize Theron might be a good Zira as well, though. Oh, that's a good shot. Look at the difference in the apes' perspectives. And look at the way Zira looks at. Ooh, that's a good little moment to acknowledge that they've been switched. She knows that, right?
Yeah.
That's great.
I think that's the moment when she comes up with the plan to switch the babies.
Oh, I thought they'd done it already. Because I thought they tried to... I think they did it already because they tried to make the ape that was in the primitive chimpanzee look... in the primitive chimpanzee's arms look more intelligent.
I'm not sure if they did it already or not. It's not really stated. I just always had this feeling that her looking at that other ape baby, she was like having an idea. You know, I could almost see a light bulb go off in her head. You know.
Okay, you need to make this remake of Planet of the Apes now, so that way we can cast Samuel L. Jackson as Ursus.
Oh, that's a definite. That's
perfect, right? Spot on.
That's the first casting call you said so far that I've been like, yes, fuck yes, now, do it now.
We have very different tastes when it comes to some of these things, I realize.
I'm tired of these motherfucking humans.
I'm not saying that all people are evil simply because their skin is white. Nah, I'm saying they motherfucking stupid.
The AK-47, when you absolutely positively got to kill every human in the field, except no substitutes. That sounds like the dopest shit ever.
Yeah, I kind of want that now.
But he wouldn't be in the first one, though. Damn.
Well, you could put him in there. Why not?
I mean, Sam Jackson also kind of has that problem of being in everything, but damn, that's just a good call for Ursus.
I think we need to stop worrying about that because they'll never happen. They would never have the money to do the effects that they do and cast all those big names. Hey, I love how Cornelius is like, I'm getting some too. His was way less intimate.
Well, yes, because she's so damned ugly.
Yeah, but fucking Zira got in there with fucking Lewis. She was like, And with Stevie, Cornelius was like, yeah.
Imagine if Zira was like, and you would be the first human I ever lesbian kissed.
I thought that was what was about to happen. I would have been down for that.
What if once you kissed Lewis, like some tongue got involved, man?
Yeah.
Like,
what if they just went to the fucking ground? No.
Cornelius had to catch the baby.
Yeah, Cornelius had to like fucking pry Zira off her. We've got to go, Zira. They're gonna come kill us. Jesus.
Come on, Zira. What are you doing? Damn it, Cornelius. This is my Black Swan moment.
My favorite picture I've seen so far, being in this century. The first chimpanzee ever born in a circus. I love how this is kind of an interesting parallel to what we're going to get in the next movie with a more dystopian future, more directly.
Very well, Zira. I will not judge you for your lesbian human sex fantasies, since you do not for my love of horses.
I love this bit. This reminds me of the Doug movie where they're going after the monster, the Dougie Lake monster, and they're going over the
Yes.
map of the town trying to find him.
Gotta love that Doug movie.
I love it so much. Roger!
Wonder how many people listening to this remember the Doug movie. Or Doug the movie, I think it was called.
Yeah, not the Duck movie. The monster was called the Monster of Ducky Lake, but...
Oh, Zira, you carpetbagger.
This suddenly looks like Harry and the Hendersons and or E.T. There are men with CGI flashlights and walkie-talkies coming after us. Oh wow, there's like some oil shit going on there. I think I passed that shit on my way to LA with Andres when we were driving there. Something that looked like that anyway. Probably not that exact one, because it was along the highway.
Did you see any intelligent apes cradling babies shuffling through the night?
Not as many as you would think, but a few.
Mm-hmm.
They were the homeless population, though, so you know it's hard to distinguish them.
I'll just throw this bag away. It's only got Cornelius's clothes in it anyway.
Oh no, but he's got most of the other shit on him.
Damn it, Zero, what's in this bag? It's my industrial hair dryer, and I can't live without it.
To waffle iron. That would be pretty fun. You'd be so grateful to have that, though. Although you'd never be able to use it because you don't have any waffle mix for sure. But if somebody tried to rob you, ooh, you'd fuck them up. This is why that was a bad idea, though. She should have thrown it in the garbage or something. Yeah, sir, I wasn't gonna not report to you because this shit scares me and I don't even want to deal with it, so you can handle it if you want. Here's my pistol. That's what this guy's gonna do anyway. Well, thanks, subtitle. I really needed to know that that's when he beeped the horn.
The way he looked at her like, they found her suitcase. Did they find her?
Oh, I knew she
here.
overpacked.
God, I hope her industrial strength hairdryer was okay.
And the waffle iron. Don't forget about the waffle iron.
You need a hairdryer that strong when you're covered in fur.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you? Although, based on the earlier scene, they might not even fucking bathe in the future.
No, but they've certainly been bathing since they've been in the 20th century.
That's true. Maybe she just recently picked that up.
Whatever this vague industrial area is, seems to be in a state of disrepair.
Even the ship they actually end up on is... Oh, there's our first indication that he's packing heat.
Oh, I think I see them. Oh, no, wait, that's just the Power Rangers fighting Repulsa.
That's just the kids from Godzilla's Revenge running around causing mischief.
There he is.
Yeah, no, definitely don't observe them for a while. Just run right into it.
But Dr. Hasline, what about the future? I may have just saved it for you.
Smells just like man. Yeah, they've got everything they need. They've got garbage. They've got stairs. They've got pillars. They've got cables. They've got blankets. They're good, right? What the fuck do they plan to eat? That's my question.
For a second, I was like, who's the third human that she trusted? And I remembered Armando. I was like, oh yeah, Armando. I was only thinking of Stevie and the other one.
I like that they're trying to find some place cleaner to feed the baby. It's like, well, it's not that bad. You know what? It's about as clean as my fucking bedroom, so.
I mean, just whip out your furry titty.
And it's not like titties haven't been sucked in here, so you know.
Cornelius was a G. She would have been like, the baby wants feeding, and he would have been like, well, then whip out your tickle bitties, bitch.
And he would have been like, then what the fuck you waiting for?
Let that baby nip on the nip.
Give me some goddamn action and all this bullshit. Cornelius is just like, yeah, do it in the fucking crow's nest.
This is exactly how I like my ships. Long, hard, and no longer full of semen.
And on the floor. Yeah, it was gooder than the packed pillows. That was really clever.
Probably should have taken up the gangplank there.
Yeah, that wasn't a wise idea. Well, maybe their thought process was they would have to use it. Although I don't know why they can. They can't go out in public at all. I mean, unless they have some confidant we don't know about who is going to deliver them food or some shit that we don't know about, who knows about them. I do like the tension here, the build up to, you know, them seeing each other, obviously. Because once they do, shit's going to go south pretty quickly. That was nice.
Really should be running around the outside of the ship. That's what got them spotted in the first fucking place.
Yeah, I don't know why he keeps doing that. That's a bad idea. Cornelius is kind of an idiot in this movie, a little bit. Would you agree?
It's a really bad idea. In this respect, yes. I don't see that throughout the rest of the movie. Yeah.
I don't know. I think there are a couple examples of him just being a little bit of an idiot. Maybe I don't know. I can't remember now. They've passed.
There are examples. What are they? I don't know. You know.
Murdering a man, maybe. I don't know. This moment of blind rage, though. Rage.
You guys are monkeys, right? No, we're apes. It's a whole other category. Ah, you're monkeys.
Give it up to me. Give it up to my gun. I totally feel like we're watching like a 70s Godzilla movie. Hedera is in range.
We're ready to kill King Kong. No, wrong. Oh, all right. That's 5 years from now.
This was such a good idea of like a place to put them, but again, they went about it all wrong. They should have went down into the hall, made a little apartment, and stayed there. Stocked up on food and shit.
I guess that was the plan, but they got caught up with too quickly because Zero had to ditch her bag.
Yeah. Probably should have been smarter about that, but,
Well, they are monkeys.
Cornelius bursts through your door and just fucking kills you, and I'm like, I can't finish this by myself. I'm going now. Finally going to bed. For some reason, this reminds me of the war from, like, Batman 66, where the bomb went off. Might be the same pier, actually.
Some days you just can't get rid of an ape.
Oh, no, trust me. They're going to get rid of these apes. It took it took some shady footwork for them to only not get rid of one ape.
Oh, they get the fuck rid of them, all right. That's for sure.
Here we go. Oh no!
I mean,
This is the
he
moment.
had a gun.
Oh, when she drops the baby, that's so fucked up. Oh god.
And she knows that it's not even her
The
baby.
fake ape that we saw for that second, too, was really effective. And I really like that Cornelius gets his revenge. Good for him. Here we go. Horses! Oh! I like that Cornelius only dies because he gets retribution for his wife. And I wonder if he knows about the switch. He might not.
I'm not sure.
Maybe
She knew, however. So if I had been her, I
she
would have
definitely
been like,
knew. She would knew without question.
So if I would have been her, I would have been like, oh, darn, you caught me. Well, here's the baby.
Yeah, she probably yeah, but he might have been suspect at that one. That something had happened.
Obviously, you wouldn't say it like that. You'd act a little better. But, just that idea. Be like,
Well, I would have said they should have faked the baby's death, for sure. They probably should have faked their own deaths, realistically, as well. Well, they didn't have to, though, did they? Here we go. Again, just so well-paced, and everything just bleeds so naturally and well constructedly into the next thing, right? We just go from that tragedy on to hope / maybe doom for the future. So good. Do you think that's a jab about them dying? How do you think the paint job on this baby chimp is to make him look more like the makeup on the adult apes?
fine.
Yeah, it doesn't really do anything. I don't think it makes any difference either way. The only thing is it makes it look different than the other that died.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great movie though. I mean, seriously, there's some dumb shit in it, but it doesn't detract from it at all. It's it's almost as good as this one.
Very well done, yes. Very well done. Definitely. I kind of go backwards and forth between it and Conquest, but certainly a contender for my favorite Ape sequel.
And one reason it has the best source material next to the original movie, because it has the Pierre Boulle novel elements of it that it made sense to tap here and tap in a really interesting and creative way. It's got a better ending than even the Pierre Boulle novel, though. So it's
yeah, definitely.
It's crazy. So really smart, awesome, fun, well-paced adventure. One of the more clever ways to continue the Ape franchise. One that became really definitive. I think it really made Cornelius and Zero the definitive heart and soul of Apes outside of Taylor,
Yeah, the only thing that doesn't work about it is that you have to buy the initial conceit of them managing to escape the planet before it blew up.
Yeah,
And
that's the dumb thing that I mentioned before. Yeah,
that is certainly a stretch. But what
that
they
and all the dramatic conveniences of Zira's pregnancy.
right. Well, but it's a conceit that exists in order to bring us some really cool shit, and that's ultimately why I think it works.
Everything works. Everything totally works at the end of the day. This is definitely one of the good ones. I totally think that this and the original movie are just objectively the best of the entire series. As good as Conquest is conceptually, in editing that movie is problematic. It's definitely the next best though.
It also does raise some questions,
Without question. Anyway,
I think this movie is just ultimately it's just so tight and well done,
Tight is a really good way to describe it as well. As all things are best described in life. So I think it's better than Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
Dylan, is there anything else you wanted to say about Escape from the Planet of the Apes?
I'd like to remind everybody that this movie is in fact a movie. So that's
yeah. It reaches the feature length mark for sure. We just sat here for nearly 2 hours watching it, so you're definitely not wrong there. So yeah. So where are we going next time, D? What is the next step in our journey through the Planet of the Apes?
Next time, Roddy McDowell will return as the son of Cornelius and Zira, and we will see him rising to power as we witness the conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
As we continue to talk apes, because it's a madhouse! A madhouse.
God damn you all, man!